Hi, this is Jarrod Townsend, Director of Music at Christ the King Catholic Church in Mesa, Arizona. And welcome to week number 2 of Journey Through Lent with Song. This week we take a look at a song that relates to the gospel reading this week. The gospel this week focuses on the Transfiguration. It's a glorious story you'll hear this weekend, where Jesus takes Peter, James, and John up to the mountain. And as they are there and praying, all of a sudden, whoom, Jesus is in glorious white. His garments are whiter than any white they'd ever seen before. Whiter than Mr. Clean, whiter than Gandalf. It's that white. It's that glorious. That's what transfiguration means. It means to change, transform in a way that glorifies and exalts. And all of a sudden, there's not only that, there's Elijah and Moses. And to good Jewish boys like Peter, James, and John, to see Elijah and Moses, that means something. And they're talking, Elijah and Jesus and Moses are talking with each other, showing Jesus' place in this line in salvation history. And then all of a sudden, the voice of God comes in just like it did at the baptism. This is my beloved Son, with whom I'm well pleased. Listen to him. And as soon as it began, gone. Elijah gone, Moses gone, no longer hearing that voice of God as they once did, and Jesus now is back in his regular, everyday human form. Jesus tells them, don't tell anyone until the Son of Man is risen from the dead. And they agree to do so, and then they start to wonder, what does that really mean, risen from the dead? Foreshadowing, spoiler alert, right? It's a great story. So many wonderful homilies. So many wonderful reflections. I'd like to share something personal, if you don't mind. You see, quick story. My mom was cradle Catholic. My dad was Presbyterian. They got married in the Catholic Church. He became Catholic a few years later, had 4 kids. I'm the youngest of 4. And we all got baptized in the Catholic Church. And then I was about preschool age. And all of a sudden, we were moving out west to a new beginning and career advancement and new opportunities. And we were in a Presbyterian church all of a sudden. I was in preschool. I couldn't really tell much of the difference myself. And then after that, we went through our /Christian phase. I call it that because it was charismatic / born again / Jesus movement / Jesus people / home church / house church / non-denominational / interdenominational / you get the idea. Constantly exploring. And my parents' views, they were looking at lots of different aspects of Christianity over that time. Needless to say, I wasn't raised Catholic specifically. But from time to time, there would be things they would share with me. Fast forward to Good Friday, 1987. My mother and I were at the piano, playing, singing, praising. A group of college friends of my brothers and mine were over at the house. My mom fell over. And at first, we thought she was slain in the spirit. Soon discovered that she had been injured. Something was wrong. She was diagnosed as having experienced a mini stroke, if you will. And they discovered a brain aneurysm. She would have several more mini strokes, eventually surgery. And she had a stroke during her surgery. The good news is she survived. However, she would never walk again. Her speech would be slurred, her thoughts sometimes jumbled. A few years later, I was over at my mom and dad's apartment. They had downsized once all of his kids had moved out. And we were sharing the Sunday paper. And if you are under 30 and you have no idea what that means to share a Sunday paper, ask somebody, they'll explain it to you. But as we're tossing around and exchanging parts of the newspaper to look at, my mom points at the magazine portion. She said, I saw this earlier, I wanted to show it to you. Okay, I like this picture of Jesus, and it was a collectible plate series, and they would always advertise in the magazines and the Sunday newspaper. Maybe some of you have some of those collectible plates. They can be gorgeous. They can have everything from, scenes from famous movies to famous artists to race cars, all sorts of things you can collect on paintings on plates, and you can hang them up on the wall. And it was another Jesus picture. My mom loved Jesus, and she loved a lot of beautiful art, and so it wasn't a surprise to me. She said, no, this one's special to me because it's your birthday. And at first I was thinking, Mom, my birthday's in August, and it's spring right now. She said, no, August 6th is when we celebrate the Feast of the Transfiguration, your birthday. And then she gave me a very brief summary of Jesus took Peter, James, and John up to the mountain, and they got to see him in glorious white in all his splendor. And then Elijah and Moses appeared with him, and he talked with them. And then the voice of God said, this is my son, and I love him. Listen to him. And then it ended, and he told them not to say anything until he was risen from the dead. This remarkably lucid moment. And it happens sometimes with people who go through a traumatic brain injury. But that moment, that day, and for her to not only have that lucid moment about this beautiful story, but also to say it's your birthday. And it is. August 6th is my birthday. And to say, you may not understand now, but you will. We didn't know it at the time, but she would be dead within a year from breast cancer. And about a dozen years after that was when I came into the church. And I actually saw the church calendar and feast days and learned all of that. And so there's a special meaning of transfiguration for me. Maybe seeing that little Polish woman sitting at a table in an apartment in Phoenix, having a lucid moment. Maybe that doesn't seem like glorious transfiguration to you. But she was back to her days when she was filled with fire. She was a passionate woman, intelligent, studied biology at the University of Pittsburgh, worked as a lab technician when they were trying to figure out various polio vaccines. She worked with Dr. Rubin's team as a technician, and she was a musician. She played piano and guitar and steel guitar, Hawaiian steel guitar. A little 5-foot Polish woman, loved Hawaiian and Polynesian and Samoan and Tongan cultures. Played accordion. She played accordion while she was pregnant with me. That may explain a great deal for some of you. And she was passionate about God, and she was always reading and always sharing. In that moment there, and her sharing about the Transfiguration, it was like she was back for a little bit. It's a very special memory for me. And it's part of my Lenten journey. The song this week, In the Light of the Lord, or In the Light, by Michael John Poirier, longtime friend of Christ the King Parish. He's been here many times over the years. A few years ago, he came to help us celebrate the shrine's, St. Peregrine Shrine's 10th anniversary. And he shared lots of stories about how he'd been here in the past for various events and the music he played. We had a wonderful time. One of the things I love about this song in particular is that a lot of times people get the idea that happy songs should be in a major key. But this song's in a minor key. In the light of the Lord. A lot of times people think, oh, major key is happy. Why isn't this is a happy thing, isn't it? But because it's in that minor key, it gives us something a little bit more mysterious. And I think especially in that last verse, as we get into that last verse, in the light of the Lord we belong, we are chosen. And I think about what Peter, James, and John saw that day. And how everything had been glorious white, and it was Elijah and Moses in the voice of God. And all of a sudden things were back to normal, but in a way that would never be the same again. When I came into the Catholic Church, one of my first music ministry assignments was providing music for RCIA retreats and in days of reflection. And this was a very popular song then. Played it a great deal. Means a great deal to me. Very happy to share it with you this week with members of the music ministry. So this week we present In the Light by Michael John Poirier.
Thank